Hello. Good morning, our dear viewers. Welcome to the Women's Voice, a platform for women rights initiative, and where we get a chance to discuss issues affecting our society, our communities. Today in studio we are here with a police officer. She's the Mama Police, and she'll be giving us some information on the on GBV cases that she has handled. She will introduce herself to the studio, to you viewers. You're welcome on the show, Sarah.
Hey, you're most welcome. Good morning, viewers. I'm called Nabtono Sarah, OCCFPU Mafuvira Police Station. I'm glad to be with you. Thank you for your time and be patient. Let us as we continue with this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for honoring this invitation. So basically, we are relating GBV with the police, and you find that some people fear to report such cases, and this is an opportunity for us to, to learn or unlearn the things that we should and shouldn't do, and maybe give courage to people who are going through this situation to be able to open up to the police on the cases they are facing. So, Sarah, my first question is, how would you define gender-based violence as a police officer?
Thank you, Jackie. I'm so humbled and honored to be with you on this program. How I, as a police officer, define gender-based violence. This is how I do it. Gender-based violence. This is an act or omission actually being acted on you, whether you're a female, depending on your sex, whether you're a man or female, or that is it. Also, children have their way of their violence that is violated against them. It's an act or omission that a perpetrator can impose to you, a victim, and this act causes you injury. It causes you either harm or psychologically, physically, economically. It could be an abuse. It could be an abuse. It could be sexual abuse. But what this act really is done to you, imposed to you in a way that to cause you either physical harm or pain. In the end of the time, you are affected as a victim, and you need to be helped either by police, normally police or medical care, depending on the type of the act of the violence which has been acted on you. This violence normally is mostly done by people who are near these victims. The perpetrators tend to be some people who are really near them, because they're the ones that cause them such acts that cause them injury. So basically, the perpetrator's interest is really the times to cause fear, and you really cause health damages on you. So generally, the act of violence goes so far that at times it can injure somebody's mental upbeing. So actually, the definition of the gender-based violence is really vast. It depends on the direction that you're taking, but it is vast. It has so many definitions. But I take opportunity to define mine in that kind of way. Jackie, have you really got me right?
Yes, thank you very much. So when these victims face such challenges or issues, and they want to report to the police station, where should they go? Which offices are they supposed to go to report such issues?
In such cases, when they come to police, they are first of all supposed to meet Mama Police or OC Child or the Office of Child and Family Protection. Normally, they are supposed to meet the Office of Child and Family Protection Unit. Then after that, after meeting that officer, is the one to determine whether it is defilement and send them to CID, whether it is that kind of abuse that requires the Office of Mama Police. So it's very good to come to the Office of Mama Police because we are trained to handle victims of GBV. They are not supposed to be handled by any other plain officer because they may not end up getting the services they want because a victim of GBV, the first handling is so good. If the first handling is poor, this person may never come back to proceed with the case. So they normally have to come to the Office of Mama Police because the Mama Police is trained to handle such victims, and I direct the police officer of that office directs them to the next office after a bit of counseling and guidance.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. So in the cases that you've handled in your office as Mama Police, what types of what types of gender-based violence do you usually interface with?
The types of violence I normally interface with day to day. One, physical violence, the battering. Sexual violence, especially marital, sexual, whatever, that one, marital, sexual violence. The neglect, the parents neglecting the children, like feeding, providing all those basic needs. And I normally get in contact with children who have, because of the issues of the home or the violence in the home, they run to streets, even some of them come to the offices, to police, saying, I've been beaten badly. Those are children. I've been beaten badly by my stepmother, my father. So those are some of the cases I handle: physical violence, sexual violence, economical violence, where some ladies come to my office that, I go and work, but it's my husband who has to account for the money. I'm not supposed to spend the money I do work for. So she's like, I work, but he has to ask, how much do you have? This month you're supposed to give me this much so that I plan for. So economical violence, also abusive violence, this violence where a man goes on abusing you every day for you. I helped you to marry you. You're on the streets. I picked you. You're not worth a wife. You're not that kind of abusive.
The verbal abuse.
Yeah, verbal abuse. There's some of the common cases in my office that I handle.
Okay. All right. So, what support is available for these cases at the police? What support do you have available? What support do you have as the police unit to the victims?
The support we have for the victims of GBV, I'll start by me. The first support I have when this GBV victim comes to my office, I have to first handle this victim with a lot of humility, counseling and guidance. And I talk to her in a way that she has to open up and tell me exactly that she goes through. Then, depending on the violence and her need as a victim, because most victims, when they come to the office, you don't have to decide for them that now this husband of yours, I'm supposed to proceed and make this file, I investigate, you go to court. When she comes, you give her time. If she's crying, I give her time to first finish her crying. Then talk to her when she has come to her senses. So now you've come to the police. You've been battered by your husband. You've been done this. What would you wish I, as a police officer, in this capacity to do for you? So this victim will open up and say, this is the father to my children, he is my husband, he has done this, but I would wish that you call him. We sit down and let him get to know that whatever he's doing to me, ABCD, is not good. I'm not happy. Mama Police, I don't want my husband himself, but I want you to call him. We sit down and do this. Another one says, Mama Police, enough is enough. I've been to your office one, twice, or the other, many times. Let you this time. I want my file processed to court. I want us to go to court so that court will hear. Those are my cases. Some of them when I handle. But when it comes to sexual violence, where rape comes in, defilement, it is the CID that handle. After my part, counseling, what I send them to CID office. Normally there, they take up the files and they take the victim for medical examination. As well at my side also, I take some victims for medical examination, depending on the violence which has been exerted to that victim. However, the ones of CID, normally because these tend to be capital offenses, defilement, rape, they normally have these perpetrators to, investigation has to go on, medication has to be there for the victims because we lead them to the medical facility that doctors who are really able to go to court with us as witnesses, they are examined and their forms are kept with us and the doctor remains with a copy. At the end of the day, the perpetrator can be handled by court or by the law.
So,
Maybe
Sarah, I have a question. I have a question on
ahead.
something you said. I have a question on something you said. You said sometimes the survivors or the victims come to you seeking for a court hearing or something. So how do you handle survivors or these victims that are seeking for a court hearing? Do you help them like process the court? Do you help them with the court process, or you recommend them to
Jackie, depending on the case, if it is physical violence, that is assault, this victim has to be examined, and the doctor ascertains how big is the injury, how she has been injured. Then I go on with the investigation statements. I go to the ground. The witness tells me how this victim was battered. I actually collect evidence depending on the case that is reported. In the case of physical violence, I have to collect all the evidences that show that this victim was beaten by that real perpetrator. Then I gather the medical evidence from the doctor because the doctors are expertise who checks the victim, examines, and gives us a report. So depending on how the investigation has been, you take this file to RSK, then RSA determines whether this file really is worth it to go to court. Then, if it is really this file is sanctioned, I lead the victim to court after even arresting the suspect in my custody. I lead the victim to court. Yeah, then court starts its work there. I also help her summon witness when time comes to see that the file we succeed in getting the perpetrator punished.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. So what are these strategies or policies that you, as the Uganda Police Force, has tried to put in place to address this issue of gender-based violence?
Actually, the police has been so good, especially it has been this office of child and family has been in place since 2003, if I'm not mistaken. And its motive is to really handle well the survivors of GBV. Because long time ago, these survivors were poorly handled because there was no specific office to handle them. And also the police has gone ahead to see that when recruiting police officers, at least they are trying to recruit also more women police officers because they are the ones who are suitable for handling such cases. Also, the police has gone on to have trainings for police officers to really for capacity building, because most of when we go for initial training, we get some general knowledge, but as we reach in the field, we get a lot of challenges. Police has gone on to give us some courses, additional courses, depending on the section you are. Like me in the CFPU, I had to go for an induction to learn how to handle such survivors, and the CIDs also go for induction to capacity build them to handle the survivors. So police has gone on to give us training. Police has managed even to get in touch with some NGO that can give us trainings where it is lacking. Some NGOs have also helped us to to give us some workshops. In turn, we gain the knowledge in depending on your section to handle whichever matter. Like for GBV, we have gone for induction for many workshops to get to know how to handle these matters. Also, we have had some workshops or some whatever knowledge of human rights. We have had a lot of workshops on whatever of human rights that try to give us some books like the gender-based violence. We have had some books that give us some books that we can read to add on what we know, especially me to handle this case of the cases of gender-based violence. I've had a lot of trainings, I've had some books, I've been given some. So police has tried to do something in a way that we can handle the cases of GBV diligently with a lot of knowledge. And we know that when you're handling this GBV at the start, if you mishandle, you will have lost it all. That is when these whatever victims end up going to commit suicide. So really, I've tried to see that we should have a good enough knowledge to handle the GBV cases and the victims. Also, the police has gone in to form whatever any organ in the police, that is the PSOs, that we should be disciplined in the field, and whoever does contrary to the police acts and the whatever operations has to be answerable somewhere. We have police codes. When you behave in a manner that the police does not want, and there's the way police handles you. We have police courts and the police councils handle you. So we work knowing that we have a lot of supervision on the other side. But at heart, when you're handling these victims, you should know that one time even your relative can fall a victim. So we handle them. I handle them diligently, knowing that these people need a lot of care at that time. Many of them don't come to report. But if you get a chance that someone has come to report, we tend to see that we are handling them so that another one will call the other one that, there's that office at police helps. Please, if you're going through such a situation, please go, you get a help. So that's how we try to call victims to get to know that we are there. And they come. Because when you handle one well, tomorrow we'll tell the other one will tell the friend that there's a help. You're passing into such a situation. Go to the other office, you'll get assisted. So Jack, I don't know whether I've answered you well in that question. I don't know.
Yes, but there's something I'm curious. Yes, you have. You've answered. Yeah, but there's something I'm curious about. What happens to like this GBV can happen in any homestead, and I was wondering if let's say there's a police officer has a family, and this issue now is happening in his space, and he may be the perpetrator. Is that the court that you were talking about where they are disciplined or something?
Actually, a police officer is also a potential offender, because he can also do any offense. Depending on the offense or the act he has done. Supposing a police officer beats up badly a wife or any other beat, is handled as any other person or any other perpetrator, depending on the matter he has, or the case he has committed. This police officer beat up a wife and broke the hand. God forbid, this police officer will be handled, but like any other person. In fact, with the police, when you, a police officer, commits an offense, our files are acted on in a very little space, in a very little hours, right? And a day or two, you'll be appearing in court. Because we tend to know that a police officer knows whatever he's doing, he knows what will be done to him the next act, or if he beats, he knows given the punishment. So this police officer did the offense knowing what would happen to him. So normally our administration does this file with a lot of care and very fast to see that the police officer gets his whatever punished. So that if a police officer is left, even the other one will say, but if police officers do like this, and why do they enforce us to do this? So administration of the police is very serious over offenders of such. They are normally handled very fast. If it is court issue, they will go. If it regards to go to our courts, it will go depending. Because give an example of a police officer like failing to give food, to provide for the family, the children are roaming in the barracks. No, that one the police administration will handle, and they will warn him. But if he does a big offense like sexual abuse, battering badly, to grievous harm, no, he will go to the door as any other person. It's not an exception that because you're a police officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So I know these interventions are in place, but and I'm sure within the work, you always find challenges as police officers on addressing these issues. Could you mention for us some of those challenges that you guys face while addressing the issue of gender-based violence, or are still facing?
Jackie, with such interventions which have been put in place, there are still gaps. There are still gaps. Well, as we police officers, you mean the side of police officers? Police officers, in our term of investigations, and when we are in offices, we face some challenges. A victim may come to office and you really want to assist this victim because he's really badly injured, he's in a bad state, he's psychologically tortured, he wants to run mad. But now when you want, like, you please, let us go for a doctor so that you get you medically examined and get treatment. You know, you get a lot of challenges there because this victim, even just transport to take this victim for medical examination or whatever, is a problem because that is monetary. And the office of the police does not provide that. Two, when our offices, whoever has gone to police may bear me a witness. Our offices are too small that we are around 10 people, 5 people in one office. This one is handling another one, this one is handling another one. And each person is trying to explain. And in that kind of way, our survivors lack privacy. They lack privacy, and yet some of them need privacy when they are trying to explain what they go through. So we really lack office space at our places. Another thing is, as we attend to our survivors, we as the police officers, our numbers are small. Jackie, truly, have ever come to my office? You know how really work. We are, I don't know whether the police should try to increase women in recruitment, more women, because these survivors tend to like women that to talk, because most survivors, let me say, men have also faced GBV. children, but women are more, whatever the percentage is big. And these women are really, they are comfortable when they're explaining their problem to fellow women. However, police officers who are women are a bit few. You'll find you're overwhelmed. At times, our supervisor will say, let a man also let a man handle that victim because for you, you're too busy. So you'll find that these women are not free and are not telling everything that they go through. We may investigate, but it may be, they'll be lacking something because she's talking to a person that is not supposed to talk to. Also, as a police, when we are doing this work, it's like they like when you're working the police officers, we lack a scholastic materials at times because most cases we improvise. As the police is too big. As government, at times also it lacks somewhere. So as a police officer, you have to initiate to see that you provide some things in office as you work. So that is still a problem for us. You may find that you're lacking something, then you say, you come back tomorrow, I will have got this so that I go ahead with this. Not because you want, but because you're getting hurdles in your means of day-to-day work. So also, you may call for witnesses to come over so that you record statements. Or you may need to go to the scene, to visit the scene, to record statements of the victims, of the eyewitnesses. But as you go to the victim, as you want to do that, facilitation is not there. Imagine you are at Mafudira, you have to move up to Nakabango on foot. This is my experience on foot. It might not be possible for me to move up to there. So as I try to join issues to do what, you may find even the evidence is trying to now get lost because people move. So we get, those are some of the challenges. I will mention it all, but those are some of the challenges and with our day-to-day work. Yes.
Okay. So what are the factors that have led to the increase of people I don't want to specify women because men also go through this. Factors that have led to the increase of people being at risk of facing GBV. In your opinion, what are?
In my opinion, to me, I see the most cases the most issues that have really led to increased GBV. Especially, I will talk about, let me talk right now, let me be specific a bit, like women and children. The reason why they may face, they are continuing and it is in increase is economical dependence. Because this woman may be in an abusive relationship, this woman may be tortured psychological, maybe physical violence, but when she looks down, I have 5 children, I'm not earning. Now, if this man is beating me, this man is doing this to me, but where do I go with these children? How will I make these children survive? Who will pay fees for these children? So this woman, this economic dependency makes this woman remain in an abusive, whatever, relationship until some of them lose limbs, some of them lose lives, and they even fear to report. He says, now if this man, I report this man, what will happen to me tomorrow? Remember, I'm reporting, but I'm coming back to the same house. I can't get anywhere to go with my children. So that makes this woman remain in such a relationship because she has nowhere to go because of the economical dependence. She cannot work. She has no any other. Even her relatives can't allow her leave because they can't take care of the family that lady has. Another thing is really our cultural beliefs have really put men at top. Like the men have a lot of powers in regards to the women. A man has everything. He's like God, I think. Let me say in Busoga here because I know I am in Busoga. A man, whatever he does is good. A woman, I'll give an example where a woman gets HIV positive, and a man also a man gets HIV positive. When a woman gets HIV positive and it's not, the man is negative, the family will build up all the relatives of the man. You have to leave this marriage. You're a malaya. How did you get this disease? Our son is okay. But one day, let this man get HIV, and for you don't have it as a lady. Hmm? Everybody will say that you're a woman. You can't leave your husband. You take care of this man. You see, this is your husband, and you see, you came to marry. This is your husband. Take care of this him. At the end of the day, this man will continue wanting to rape this man at night, telling this woman that for you, yes, stone, I'm going to stand into a stone. And where did I get this? Did I get from an animal? They keep fighting the whole night, but everybody is supposed the woman to stay in the marriage because she's the woman. So I see this thing in that kind of way, that the violence has kept some gender in suffering because the other is inferior on the other. I'll still talk about poverty. Poverty is too much. Especially these people who are facing GBV, most of them, they stay in poverty-related situations. You want to investigate the case, has come to police, you're trying to say that you're investigating the case, you've even reached somewhere, even court, but even transporting witnesses to court can be a problem. Even so, at the end of the day, the perpetrator moves free and the case is dismissed because witnesses have not gone to court. You, the police officer, you've done your work, but the victim has been the case has been dismissed because the victim can't afford to transport witnesses to court to testify so that her case can be prosecuted. So there are many case issues why the BGBV is still going ahead, though we've put a lot of efforts to that we handle and see that it ends. There are so many issues that have led to that, but basically, a few you can start with that. That it is mostly the gender, or depending on what you are. When I talk about men also, they have continued to suffer the gender violence because they fear to report cases, that they are men, they get ashamed to report cases. You got to report that your wife has beaten you. I am a man. A man is allowed to be powerful, to be a commander. How does a woman beat you? So today she's battered, the man is battered, the man is humiliated, the man, but he can't report because he fears to go and open up because he's a man. So I feel that's why the violence, the gender-based violence is still on the rise. So we have tried to see that we handle.
Sarah, as we conclude the show, what recommendation would you give to the stakeholders involved in who are trying to navigate around this issue, gender-based violence? What recommendation would you give to CSOs, to the government, to even individuals who are trying to, to try to reduce on this issue of GBV?
Jackie, me as a police officer, first of all, okay, I would recommend that we should also start from the grassroots, the LOC. Like you NGOs who are trying to support the government in fighting this, I would recommend that we find a way of empowering the LOC chairmen. We teach them, we actually and we can find a way of teach it, talking to them, or we give them like workshops, either government, either or an NGO can be able, and train them on how to handle these victims and how to handle communities in such violences. So that we empower them to also have community meetings and teach the community about this big, very bad, whatever, this very bad act in the community, because it is down in the community and it is happening every day. And it is LOCs who are handling them. And they're handling them, they don't know what to do at times. So I would feel, if possible, I would recommend that LOCs are empowered and they should get to know what to do if such cases are reported to them. Another recommendation I would say that really, as as government, as government, it would find a way of having like the whatever TVs, radio talk shows, to sensitize community over the same. They should be on TV, find measures how to handle, but on TVs, radios, to sensitize the communities at whole. They should know what to do and they should know that this act is not good. It has been there and it should not continue because it is not good. It is a vice. I would also recommend that the men, they should have men engagement. The government should also have a way hand of, like women, they've all had meetings and they've had, women are so easy getting them and teaching them what they have to do than men. They would find a way of having men engagement so that they can also be talked to as men. Hmm? As men, they should know that they should know what some of what they do is bad. So our government should have a way of, of also talking to men. And the men should know that all of us are created by God. We are equal before God. Nobody is on the top of the other. We are human beings. We are all governed and by God. The one who gives the life, the one who determines who will be a man and who will be a woman. They never chose it by themselves. So the government should have found a way or should find a way of addressing men or regarding this GBV issue, because it is a serious crisis. It is finishing up our country. Some children are growing up knowing that when I'm a man, I have to beat a wife. I have to beat even in some boys and families, they become very big that they start beating their sisters for not doing work. And imagine for them, can't they do some work? So they come up from down here knowing that a woman is inferior to them. I've experienced boys who beat up their sisters in the home that, this girl has not watched plays. And I asked the boy, for you, what have you done? That me, I was watching TV. So generally, right from schools, they should be talking to all the children to be responsible the same way, and they should know that all of us are equal before God. So it should also go to schools. The schools should start nurturing all the children while telling them they're all equal. Right from the school, nursery schools and the rest. I would recommend that. I think that would reduce that kind of acts in families, in communities. Jackie, as the police, I would recommend that government recruits more women in the police officer, and also they give them promotions equally as the other one, so that we can handle these matters equally, because I know that women can handle better than the men, these victims, and the case of GBV, the women. Jackie, I would have a lot, but basically that is what has come to my mind, because I noticed too, it is a comment, it could be a lot, but that's what I can deliver now.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank
Yes,
you for gracing us with your time and your wisdom. And we are happy to learn some of the things and maybe, getting some confidence in the police. Some people fear to report because maybe previously something happened and they were not worked on. But I think with sharing such information, people can somehow, be open, can open up to be able to report to the police stations. Thank you
yes,
very much for your time.
Jack, let me tell something. Jackie, I have issues with clients that have come to my office. When they come to my office, they feel it is friend. Then they ask me, when I tell them, go to the counter and open up your case, then you ask you, how much do I pay? I now start explaining that police services are free. So I think some of them fear to come to police, that you must have some amount of money, either 10,000, to come and report a case. So I start from office telling them that no, police services are free. You know, for us, we are government workers. We are paid by government.
Yeah.
On counter, open up your case. Don't be asked any money, and when you ask, maybe come and report that I've been asked. The service is free. You never fail to come to report to office because you need money to open cases. So our communities are still far behind on some
Yeah.
police case, some police whatever interventions.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. And I hope people will realize that reporting cases to the police is free of charge. You don't need to pay for anything.
Yes.
Okay,
There
this
can
comes to the end. This comes to the end of the show, and thank you, Sarah, for your time. Thank you, viewers, for listening in, and we hope to hear from you very soon again. Bye.